to your favorite podcast, But Do You Have a Real Job? With your host, Mario Mitchell.
It's me, Mario.
Let's do it.
All right, we are back, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. But do you have a real job? We're here with John McAfee. We have a lot to talk about. Drones flying over Pedo Island. Jeffrey Epstein whacked token. The new John McAfee presidential campaign. So we're gonna jump right on into this. For people that are listening, I'm gonna run over the quick official story of the Epstein alleged suicide, and then we'll start from there. But if you don't know what's going on with Epstein and you're watching this podcast, you've probably been living under a rock. So Epstein was arrested July 6th for sex trafficking minors in Florida and New York. We both know that. We all know that. He was placed in prison in New York. He attempted suicide only less than a month after he was in there, a little over 2 weeks, on July 23rd. He died by hanging in August 10th. And then August 29th, every charge against this man was dismissed. So within 2 months, he was arrested, killed himself, and all the charges were dismissed. So how does a guy like Jeffrey Epstein get placed in federal custody and kill himself within a month of being in prison when he's one of the most high-profile witnesses in court history?
No, I mean, first of all, he was extraordinarily clever. I mean, one of the cleverest of all people. So, in order to commit suicide under those circumstances, he knew he would have to do special shit. I mean, for example, he was 6 feet tall, and the only thing he could hang himself from was a bunk bed 5 feet 7 inches tall. It was his first challenge.
Yeah.
The second challenge was he had to get his cellmate transferred out of his cell before he did it, else there'd be witnesses and the cellmate would stop it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And number three, he'd have to get the guards not to come down and watch while all this was happening, so they'd have to somehow forget. And number four, he would have to misalign every video camera in that block so that nothing, either within his cell or down, he had to do all of that. And yet, he accomplished all of that. Now, you tell me he is not one clever man, because his cellmate was transferred. He did hang himself from a bunk shorter
Oh, yeah.
than himself. I'm sorry. No,
I don't know how I don't even know how you could do that.
He was clever. I was thinking, what do you do? Do you lift your feet? I mean, and hold them to your chest? Now, how many people are really going to be able to follow through with that shit? I don't think many.
Right.
But he figured it out. That's how clever he was. Okay. So the cameras were misaligned. How did he do that? How did he manage that? What a clever motherfucker he was. And somehow maybe he bribed guards. I don't know. But somehow he got the guards not to come down and check. And how he got his cellmate transferred, fuck, that is a feat in a federal fucking prison.
Right.
But he accomplished all of those, and so clearly the most clever man who ever existed.
So do you think he actually hung himself, or do you think somebody went in there and finished the job?
He didn't hang himself, my friend.
Yeah, you have a new token called Whacked Token, actually dedicated to this whole scene, but we're going to get into that just a little bit later. How does a man, but after 2 weeks of being in prison, you attempt to kill yourself? How in the fuck does the higher ups allow this man to kill himself 2 weeks after that? Does this man bribe his way up to the top?
No, come on, he didn't. Like I said, okay, let's look at the facts again from a non-humorous angle. Okay,
Right.
So the facts are these: he did not kill himself. Good God, how could he? It is not possible. The bunk was shorter than him. The video cameras, the surveillance cameras for that cell block were all misaligned purposely. The guards did not come. They did not come down and check on him. His cellmate was transferred. Jesus, God added up. There can't be that many coincidences. Plus, in hanging himself from a rope that is shorter than him, he managed to break his neck in multiple places, indicative of forced strangulation. So he didn't kill himself. Let's wake up, people.
Yeah, isn't it
No,
crazy that a lot of the people that hate conspiracy theories actually think that this happened, that somebody came in there and whacked the guy, but nothing is ever going to get done about it.
nothing is ever going to get done about it. No. And someone clearly went into his cell and whacked him by strangling him.
And we all knew it too. He went to prison. We were like, he's not going to make it out of prison. And then somehow
No,
he doesn't.
of
Of course.
course not. Of course not. Good God, he had a tally of the most powerful people, men and women, in America, with videos and audio recordings of horrific things.
Oh yeah.
What is what what is his life?
Stupid train.
Is that a real train?
Yeah, it's right outside my fucking window. It's annoying. It
Now that is
should
cool.
stop any second.
That is fucking cool. I have not a live train in a long time. Those bastards disappearing.
Yeah.
So
If it'll stop any second. There we go.
all right. What was our question?
I forgot what we were talking about specifically. Oh yeah, he had a bunch of blackmail on people. I mean, everybody
Yes.
you could think of.
So yeah, his life expectancy couldn't have been more than a few weeks once they got
Right.
him in custody. This was clear. All it took was the time to organize, get the right people on staff, make sure that no fuck ups could happen anywhere other than the obvious that had to be fucked up, which is like misaligned video cameras.
Right.
And that took a few weeks, and then they fucking did it, of course.
It's pretty funny to think about, and Hillary Clinton is like, haha, she probably killed him. But do you really think Hillary did it, or do you think maybe he just had so much shit on everybody that they all agreed, you know what, this guy's got to go?
I have no clue who pulled the trigger to make this happen, but it could have been anybody. Think about it. All these people were very powerful. All these people were very corrupt. All these people held high government positions.
Right.
You know, Hillary would be singled out because, to my knowledge, she had nothing to do with anything at that island.
Speaking of that island, isn't it crazy that it was like well known that that was a pedo island and he owned it and everybody would just go there to fuck little kids? Why is that cool? Why?
Cool. I didn't say it's cool. I said I've never heard
No,
it.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Cool.
nobody busted him down there. He never got in trouble. He was still friends with. And why would people align themselves with somebody that's already a convicted sex offender? He was already convicted back in like 2007 or 2008.
I mean, it's because he chose a Caribbean island chain. The entire Caribbean is a third world, or maybe even a fourth world collection of islands that date back to the earliest settlements in the earliest times of American history. The pirates, the Bahamas were booming far before the American continent, and Cuba was in fact the first island discovered. Columbus mistakenly thought that was the mainland. It was not. So it's a very unique place, and it's a very backwards place in many respects, certainly economic. And in those areas, because I spent much time all over the Caribbean. It's one of my favorite hangouts as I was growing up into this old wrinkled thing that's sitting in front of you right now. And the attitudes toward things like sex, the questions are: were any body parts removed? Is everybody still breathing? listen, we got more important problems. I mean, do you understand it? In all seriousness, when you're trying to feed a family, I mean, seriously, just food, and barely managing things that don't involve the loss of a limb or of life are simply no importance. And that's why Jeffrey chose that place.
That would make sense. There wouldn't be a whole. I guess there's no police force. He owns the island, right? So he makes the rules.
No, not true. There's a police force, and actually, it's part of an American territory, even though it's nestled within the middle of the Caribbean morass of islands. But no, he couldn't make his own rules.
Okay.
However, enforcing the rules of the land, well, is a different thing entirely. You can't just drive up and knock on the door and say, we have a search warrant.
Right.
You got to get the right weather to get your boat across. No place to land an aircraft, so and hope for good weather and a good time, and you'll be seen by radar from the island within seconds of leaving whatever island you're leaving.
That's crazy.
So it's the enforcement that's the issue, not the law.
There were a lot of rumors flying around. There was drones flying over the Epstein Island, Pedo Island, whatever you want to call it, and there was a lot of rumors that was you flying it over to see what you could find. What do you have to say about that?
I know nothing about it.
You don't know anything about drones?
Nope, nothing.
Yeah, it's just weird that people were flying drones, whether it was you or not. Somebody's flying a drone over that island. And a lot of stuff, they didn't talk about this in the media that much, but they had a whole burning of a bunch of stuff on that island pretty shortly after he got arrested.
As I said, I know nothing about it. I know nothing about the island and barely have heard the name of Epstein. So cannot help you with that one.
Did you see the Project Veritas video that recently dropped about ABC?
No, what was that?
So I guess Amy Robach, I don't know her personally, obviously, but she was a reporter for ABC. She was on a hot mic in the middle of a commercial break. She was telling her producer, I had this Epstein story 3 years ago with Virginia Guthrie or Roberts, and the higher ups killed it. She was saying we had info on Clinton, we had info on the royal family, and pretty much everything that's coming out right now. And
No, I haven't seen it. However, please, after this interview is finished, would you send a link to
yes,
Janet?
yes, I'll
To
definitely
Janice,
send you the link. You will
please.
love the video. I'm surprised you
I
haven't seen it yet.
listen. I don't get out much, and I'm fairly busy, so my
I
apologies
understand.
for me.
Is your new location public, or are you still in hiding?
No, it's definitely not public.
Okay, I just didn't know if.
We'll be in hiding for quite some time.
Well, that's no fun. Um, but it does keep the media on you, which is a little good. Speaking
Yeah,
of the media, we were just talking about Amy Robach. I'll send you that whenever we get off here. But we know that the media has no problem attacking Trump on Stormy Daniels, on prostitutes in Russia peeing on him, right? They'll literally make anything up to get some clicks. So why won't they cover the Epstein case like it's supposed to be covered?
because it's too dangerous. I mean, dangerous. I mean, physically dangerous. I mean, you could lose your life or one of your children, or they will let you know in advance what you might lose if you continue to pursue a certain direction in the press. It's been this way for 50 years before, and this should be no surprise. Um, so that's why. And as to someone peeing on Trump or whatever, why do we give a flying fuck? What does that have to do with anything? I mean, if you want to look at people's sexual quirks, I would love to have videos installed in every bedroom in the world watching people while they're watching Pornhub. I mean, please God.
Well, we do kind of have that, right here.
Listen, it's the biggest coup in world government since the invention of government. to get people to carry their own spy devices and pay for it. I
Yep.
mean, just imagine what what world dictators of the past would have paid for that.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine being around back then, knowing that we're all being spied on right now by our own devices.
Well,
But we're all okay
Janice,
with it.
Janice and I do not own one of those things, and we may never be able to own one again because if we had, I don't care where we're hiding, we would be located just like that. But no, we
Man,
don't have haven't had phones for 5 months, and actually, it's kind of freeing. Okay, when we're not in our communications room, um, then it's kind of nice not to, we talk more, so it's not much of a hardship.
right? Yeah, I'm on my phone way too much. It's pretty whacked. uh, but yeah, speaking of we were talking about the royal family earlier. Oh, in that video, you haven't seen it yet, but in the video, Prince Andrew, he actually did like an interview after all that stuff came out because he was being accused, and he did an interview, and he was like, "I couldn't have possibly had sex with that woman because I don't party and I don't sweat." And then pictures immediately start coming out of him partying and sweating. It's like, come on,
And
man. But
oh yeah,
he ended up getting kicked out of the royal palace because of all these allegations. So they kicked him out. They were like, "You got to go."
no bullshit. I mean, they kicked him out only in formal ways.
Sure.
I mean, he came back in the back door, and everybody's still partying or doing whatever they do in the royal palace. We all know that.
Oh
That's
yeah.
only for public consumption. So, um, well, listen, this is what happens. Well, why don't people just tell the truth? Well, yes, of course, I talked to the girl who wouldn't. She was of age, I think, wasn't she?
Right.
And who cares if he's married? Good God, if we put in headlines in every newspaper in the world every time some man or some woman was unfaithful to their spouse, uh, there's not enough newspaper in
Right.
to print that on. So why do we care? That's the problem. See, we care because they tell us what we should care about. If it's in the press, well, good God, it must be important.
Right.
And if it's on the front page, it must be the most important thing. So what the press chooses to put the spotlight on is what the public sees. And they can put the spotlight on Prince Andrew because he fucked somebody. And that poor bastard. Now he's up there going, "Well, all right. Listen, I've done what almost every person in the world, and certainly every man in the world has ever done, and here I am. What the fuck?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't party, and I don't sweat." And it's like, okay, dude, that's not bad considering the circumstance. I mean, you have 100 million eyes watching you right now,
Oh
and
yeah.
you've got to on the spot because the question just popped right on
Oh
the
yeah.
spot. Well, hey, listen, I don't know. It's kind of creative, at least. I don't sweat. I've never heard that one before. So
No, never heard
no,
that. When there's
ever
pictures
heard
of you
that?
sweating profusely, that's the
Well,
problem.
yeah, of course, it's an excuse like anything. It's an
Right.
excuse.
I was at my friend Tony's house, man. I didn't do that.
Yeah, President Clinton. They find out he smokes marijuana, but he goes, "Yes, but I did not inhale.
Right.
Therefore, there, please God, it's all a lie, and none of it matters. What they're lying about, I could give a shit about.
Right.
I mean, say you had sex with some Monica Lewinsky in the Oval Office. I don't give a fuck other than how long did it take and did you get back to work afterwards? Because that's what we're
Right.
paying you for.
Right.
Because
We're
clearly,
paying you to do that.
if it's in the Oval Office, then you're on work time. And we understand these things, no more than once or twice a week, Mr. President. We have no problem. Why don't you just say it? Yes, of
Yeah.
course, but I swear to God, in 4 months, I never had sex with him more than 5 days. And we go, you know what? That's okay. He's not really fucking up on the job that
Right.
much by just having sex every couple of weeks. No, just say it. We are not idiots, but
Right.
instead we lie. Therefore, the lie becomes the news.
Yep.
I didn't inhale. Well, again, they put him on the spot. So
Yep.
tell us, because it's always a surprise. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise question. You go, fuck me, I didn't expect that one. Right? And so it pops up in a news conference, and he goes, well, yes, I did smoke marijuana, but I didn't inhale. Well, goddamn, on the spot, right then and there, with 3 seconds to come up with an answer. Well, fuck me. I mean, all right, that was pretty good. Let's
And
give
and
him
not one person believes it.
right. But still, I give him 9 out of 10 for being on the spot, whatever. I mean, he could have just seriously lied and said, no, that was a lie that never happened. No, and
Right.
now you're digging deep. Instead, didn't inhale. Oh, fuck me. How
That's
can you
great.
argue? How can you argue with that?
You're like, you know what? This is hilarious.
No, it's good. Look, this is what it is, people. I don't care who the president is. This is what you get.
Yep.
We put human beings in that chair, not gods. I mean,
Right.
we were people and with greed and jealousy, as well as love and kindness,
Mm-hmm.
and anger and fear, as well as grace and compassion. Good God, man, you put that in a chair, who knows what's going to happen?
Put
All right,
Hillary
and
Clinton
so
in that chair. You don't want to know what happens.
yeah, you know what? What happens? I'm going to have to dig a cave in Antarctica and hide forever because Hillary Clinton is my fucking arch enemy. All right, personally, that bitch. When I was in Belize, when she was Secretary of State, and I went on the run, I called the U.S. Embassy. My good friend Balthazar Garcia, that bastard can verify this phone call, and I said, I'm coming into the embassy for sanctuary. And he said, John, uh, we have it from the highest authority. Understand me, the highest authority, that you are not to be allowed in the U.S. Embassy. Well, who was the highest authority at that point? Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, head of every fucking embassy. Why would she care? Because it was revealed 1 month earlier that I had hacked into all of the Belizean uh, governmental files. And I had found a bunch of names of money launderers and other questionable characters doing questionable things. And something very similar to her name came up, and to James Comey came up in similar circumstances.
Can you talk about any of the stuff you found?
I'm sorry?
Can you talk about any of the stuff you found?
Not and continue breathing? No. I mean, they will nuke wherever they think I might be. No.
Yeah. We know Hillary Clinton and Obama have no problem dropping a drone strike down.
Yeah, well, James Comey is the real problem. Well, was, thank God, Trump almost instantly smelled a rat
Mm-hmm.
and fired his sorry ass.
Yep.
The most corrupt FBI head we have ever had. And she and Clinton, and he and Clinton together caused Janice and I 5 years. Hillary's thinking, okay, he's not going to survive. They're gonna collect him and whack him. Right? I'm on the run. It's headline all over the world. John McAfee found, um, arrested, and shot or whatever, trying to escape. That would be it. It's Belize, good God, a third world country at best, maybe a fifth world at worst. It's a dictatorship in spite of the mock democracy that they claim to be. And the prime minister, the most corrupt man in Central America, if not the fucking planet, Dean Barrow, with his own security force outside of the legal army and
I
police. No,
bet, yeah.
the gang suppression unit reporting directly to him. Now you think about this for a fucking minute. You're like, what if the president walked into Congress surrounded by 50 of the fiercest paramilitary motherfuckers you've ever seen and and negotiated a deal with Congress?
Yeah, right.
Same fucking thing, but it's for real in beliefs. But in any case, I don't know how we got on. Did you ask a police question, or did I
No,
talk?
we were talking about Hillary Clinton, and she
Oh
didn't
yeah,
allow you into the embassy.
we're not protecting him, and they will just grab him and whack him. But she did not realize how fucking slippery I am. See, I was 60, 67 at the time. I'd been around this fucking world. I knew how to grease myself against collection by authority. And so I put my full self into it, and I did escape.
You got the
Long
fuck out of there.
long and tedious, and took months, but yes, after a stint in a Guatemalan prison and everything else in between, while police is trying to get me back, no, I got out of there, and I can't ever go back. Of course, that's tragic. A beautiful country.
Yeah. Didn't somebody film a documentary about that, like while it was happening?
No, not while it was happening. It was Nanette Burstein, and it's on Netflix now called Gringo. I've never seen it. I hear it's trash. There's been a couple all documentaries, but there's a movie coming out in 2020 with Zach Efron playing a reporter and Michael Keaton playing me, called King of the Jungle, and it's about a 2.5 week period in my life in Belize. So based on a real event, where a reporter from Wired magazine came down, spent 2.5 weeks with me, um, unraveled during that 2.5 weeks, and went back and wrote a sensationalist book called John McAfee's Last Stand. So the movie's based on that book.
That's cool. And you said that's coming out in around 2020.
Yes, somewhere in 2020, I guess the summer.
That would be really cool. Cannot wait to see that. We were talking about Hillary Clinton, and I saw somewhere that she might end up running in 2020 because the Democrats have no other choice to beat Trump than to put another loser up there that lost to Trump last time. So, in your opinion, out of all the Democratic candidates right now that they have, not including Hillary, who do you think has a possibility to beat Trump in the next election, if at all?
Well, I'm going to be frank with you. I could care less. I mean, I don't care which top Democrat. I don't care whether Trump runs or not. I don't care who wins. And the reason is it doesn't matter. People wake up. The system in which our leaders, our elected leaders, function is no longer functioning like the Constitution intended. It's functioning in a very twisted way, in which, in terms of our political leaders, they're all driving cars with frozen steering wheels. So it doesn't matter who's driving. Every one of those individuals are going to do exactly what the CIA and the other covert agencies and the armed services tell them to fucking do. Why? Because our covert services and our armed services are career personnel. You don't quit the CIA
Right.
ever, and you never retire. Now you may get whacked, but you don't leave off your course job. And they look at, in fact, they have a word for presidents. They call them transients. Transients. They're only here for 4 years, maybe 8 max. In that period of time, you can't possibly educate a president. in the reality of a world which the CIA lifetime employees have spent 35 years understanding and digging into in detail the
Right.
political alliances, the histories, cultures, religion. Fuck, no. So they treat them like idiots and they control them by selectively passing information, which our covert services have absolute control over, making them do whatever the CIA or the others want.
Right.
How? Sometimes they even lie. Here's an example. Second Gulf War. Iraq was getting too powerful for the CIA's plans for the Middle East. And so they sat down and said, what are we going to do? The first item that came up was, well, let's assassinate Saddam. And then they mulled it over and decided, no, we'll just be a replacement and it will be worse. Then they finally said, well, we'll have to bomb them into the Stone Age. Everybody agreed. And then whoever's in charge of the meeting goes, you, Fred, and James, go to the president, make this happen. How do they make it happen? So Fred and James go, okay, how are we going to make this happen? We have to make shit up, you know that, because there's no way in the short period of time. So they're going, what do we do? Well, I know. Tell him Iraq has nuclear weapons. Duh. Go, yes. Fuck. Perfect. That's exactly what they do. Knowing that Iraq does not have nuclear weapons. And
Yep.
after it was proved not to have them, and every single man, woman, and even substandard idiot child knew that Iraq didn't have nuclear weapons, except for the president and Congress, who are briefed by the CIA. So it's one example of how this system works. So I don't care. I give a flying fuck who you put in that Oval Office. It will not matter to me nor to you. I mean, look
Right.
at your history. During past presidential elections, which you have experienced yourself, what changed in your life?
Right.
Did you lose your spouse? Did you drink less beer? Did your car stop working? Did your kids start speaking Chinese? No, not one hair on your fucking head was wafted by the explosion of that change. No, there is never a change. Even
Right.
when, even when a president like Obama manages through hard work and 4 years of his time to create something like Obamacare, we all knew. So what? And what? So what? The next administration gone. Dismantle it. That's task one. So do you see nothing changes? Why then would you give a shit who you vote for? Instead, people, we need to pull back the curtain and talk about the truth. How presidents and Congress are manipulated and controlled by information. And
Right.
information is my specialty and all I have ever known. And in the computer security field, where it is so important to deceive. That's how we get honeypots, right? Where we're trying to trap the intruders into an area where they spend enough time that we can catch them. This is the epitome and the height of covert information activities. And
Right.
I am one of the masters, and I am telling you now that those who control the information within the United States government are the ones that control everything.
Absolutely. Like they have the government and the media have almost a synonymous relationship. Whatever the government
And
says and tells the media, they're going to report on it.
we have time for one more short question and one more short answer.
All right. Let's see here. I wanted to talk a little bit about the media lying about you. So I'm gonna make this a quick two questioner. We talked about the media being fake and how they lie and make stuff up. The media pushed the Iraq war on the American people so that they'd believe it and want to go to war and not feel bad about going to war. So how has the media lied about you in the past? And how did you fight it, or did you even try?
I don't pay attention Why? Why would I care if and when the media lies about me? And those few times that I have seen extraordinary, contradictory reports on my activities, I smile and laugh and wonder how did that happen? But I never read. Why would I reply? Who gives a shit what the press says?
Right.
As long as they spell my name right and use the correct image of me, then God damn it, that's all I want.
Right.
Say what
It's not.
you
That's
want. Say, you put a picture of me and spell my name right and say John McAfee caught eating infants alive. I don't care. Put that on there. In a year's time, the infants alive thing is gone, but the John McAfee remains. Like, it's crazy about the human subconscious. So I don't care. Bring what you want. In fact, that's fascinating because my next campaign video, and this is a promo for me right now, coming out next week. I have one campaign video out already, which is basically a link of video clips of me doing everything, getting arrested, talking on Larry King, you name it. The real me, front to back, bottom to top.
right.
The next one is about the press about me, and we have 60 press clippings with, with titles like um, let's see, escapades with drugs, guns, and prostitutes. Okay, those headlines did in papers like the New York Times, the London Financial. I'm seriously,
Jesus Christ.
um, John McAfee uh, in police with a harem of 7 women wanted for multiple murders and drug manufacture. None of that was except the 7 women. Um, and so these are all going to be in the next video. Okay.
Okay. I can't wait to see that. That's gonna be cool.
And it's my thumbs up, like not thumbs up, but
Nana nana boo boo.
my thumb to my nose to the mainstream media of how absurd you people are. How absurd.
And they're
And
gonna share the crap out of that video.
I know, and I must go now, my friend.
All right, no worries at all. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. It was cool. Thanks everybody for listening. That was John McAfee. Do you have like a website people can reach you at, or just go to your Twitter?
My Twitter, official McAfee.
All right, it'll pop up on the screen somewhere like right now. So, all right, man. Thank you so much again for taking my call, be on the podcast. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening or day.
Thank you so much.
But do you have a real job?